Multi-vector integration is Kazakhstan's chosen course of development in the program Single Market.
There is no point in waiting for someone to pave the way for you. One must trod one's own path. This is the theme of our today's program. Hello, my name is Pavел Koktышев, and you're watching Single Market. In today's episode, the rules of the game, how to manage a company in times of crisis, exporting winter tourism, a report from Armenia, the experience of a partnership, getting returns on your investments.
Менеджмент и управление – две руки бизнеса. Каждая из них выполняет определенную функцию.
Management and governance, the two guiding hands of a business. Each one of them fulfills a specific function, but one cannot exist without the other. The role of management is to run the enterprise, and that of the board is to see that it is run well and in the right direction. This distinction is attributed to Robert Tricker, one of the authors of the concept of corporate governance. Corporate governance in conditions of a turbulent economy. Our correspondent Nina Kumambetova sought the answer to this very important question.
Ответов по этому очень важному сегодня вопросу занималась Нина Кумамбетова.
The financial crisis of 2008 was a litmus test for the entire business community. In this tough situation, even some of the world's experts were unable to withstand the challenges of the economy in the business sphere. Analysis that followed showed that the majority of the mistakes were obvious, and they were directly connected with a system of corporate governance. There is no single conception of a successful model of corporate governance. However, all the existing theories have one common denominator: the balance of interests of the company's management, shareholders, and board of directors. In theory, this balance must be maintained, taking into account all the risks. This is a system of checks and balances between a company's management and shareholders, where the board of directors and the supervisory council always play an active role. Today's turbulence of the economy requires that the board of directors search for the flaws in the mechanisms of a company's functioning and ability to efficiently react. In these conditions, a manual mechanism of management justifies itself, and according to experts, there is now a situation when companies have the opportunity to renew their strategy and understanding of business as a whole.
Где мы будем больше двигаться, где мы, например, сократим затраты.
In which direction are we going to move? Where will we cut costs? Because this is precisely the time when one truly understands whether it is worth to continue what they're doing or not.
Либо нет.
Corporate governance in times of economic stability and during the period of a crisis differ in the level of communication. What's more, in every respect. For example, members of the board of directors in times of economic difficulties meet more often than usual. If during a period of stability it is recommended for a company's board of directors to meet no more than 6 times a year, then in times of an economic crisis, it is possible that the board of directors gathers practically every week. With such an active role played by the board of directors, there are also higher requirements set for the reporting system. This means transparency in the making of all decisions. In Kazakhstan, this issue becomes even more relevant in parallel with the process of integration of domestic businesses into the global economic community. Because for investors, transparency is of special importance from the perspective of the company's access to world financial markets. Sooner or later, the crisis will end, and when it does, investors will come to our country and ask, which one of you is ready, which enterprise has a developed system and a transparent and justified decision-making. Establishment of communication channels for achieving transparency in a company is the task of the company's chief executive officer, or the CEO, because a skillful manager is attentive towards their team.
Люди, которые в бизнесе своем уже немало времени провели,
People who have spent a considerable amount of time in the business sphere have their own vision and knowledge. Because if the team is made up of experts and experienced people, then the team itself will be able to advise on the right solution to a set problem. The experience of leading countries shows that the introduction of such practices by the board of directors is a powerful instrument for development, especially in times of an economic crisis. By the way, at the end of March, the International Financial Corporation, which is part of the World Bank, will host the National Forum in Astana. Its theme, Corporate Governance, a new view on the investment attractiveness of Kazakhstan. Representatives of state entities, Kazakhstan's quasi-public sector, as well as top managers of leading national and foreign companies are invited to this forum. Therefore, the upcoming discussion will be useful for parties on all levels. Nina Komambetova, Anatoly Valuysky, exclusively for Single Market.
Интеграция – ведущий мотив и хороший стимул для стран.
Integration is the leading motive and a great stimulus for the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union to get to know each other's potential in various spheres of the economy. For example, for me, it was eye-opening to find out that Armenia, with its population of 3 million people, annually hosts more than 1.2 million foreign tourists. Our correspondent in Armenia, Elina Kazaryan, brings us the full story. There's nothing surprising about the fact that the number of foreign tourists coming to visit Armenia is a third of the country's total population. Even for the most weathered tourists who have a lot of experience under their belt, Armenia offers some of the most unforgettable experiences, because it is precisely here that one can witness the footprints of events that took place in the ancient times, as well as the great mysteries of the world. It would not be an exaggeration to call Armenia a country of historical treasures. We have the world's most ancient observatory, as well as a multitude of old temples and monasteries. Some of them host priceless exhibits. For example, at the Echmiadzin Cathedral, which was built back in the 3rd century AD, one can see Christian relics. Armenia is also rich in terms of its natural sites. 90% of the country's territory is located on an altitude of more than 1,000 meters above sea level, and the landscapes here are quite picturesque. One such place is the town of Tsakhkadzor. Tsakhkadzor is a centuries-old city. In ancient times, it bore the name Tsakhkunyat-Zor and served as a summer residence for Armenia's kings of the Arsacid dynasty. It is said that the monarchs loved to spend their leisure time here, to go hunting and enjoy the aroma of the local flowers. In the summer, the city literally blooms and blossoms. By the way, Tsakhkadzor translates from Armenian as the Valley of Flowers. This small town bears the fame of a beautiful nature resort. There is a reason for its popularity among some of the world's best sports teams. Tsakhkadzor is located at a middle altitude, and as a rule, such an environment aids in increasing one's stamina and conditioning. On lower planes, this cannot be achieved. We know from our experience that this gives a very positive result on which we count. Our Russian junior boxing team is fully satisfied with this resort. All the conditions that are in place for the training process, the offered nutrition for the athletes, the location and the pool are all commendable. By the way, in the 1960s, one of the sports complexes for the USSR team was built precisely here, along with the cable road. This monument attests to this. At the beginning of the 2000s, the cable road was fully reconstructed. Today, Tsakhkadzor attracts guests with its modern stations, lifts, mountain ski paths of 32 kilometers in length, and convenient transport logistics. It is quite easy to reach it. The Tsakhkadzor ski resort is located not far from Yerevan, just 60 kilometers away, on the slopes of the Teganis mountain. Annually, it attracts up to 250,000 guests. The business of tourism is one of the main sources of income for the local residents. More than 40 hotels and guest houses, dozens of entertainment centers, cafes and restaurants provide jobs for up to 1,200 people. In the last years, in terms of the number of tourists, Russia has been leading the ranks. Guests from Russia coming to Tsakhkadzor prefer to arrive with a whole family for the winter vacation. Our relatives recommended that we visit Tsakhkadzor. They came for holidays last year. They said that it was great and that we would really enjoy everything. And overall, we do. Tsakhkadzor has its own advantages over other ski resorts. It has ski tracks for different skill and professional levels. We are enjoying skiing from dusk to dawn. We're full of impressions and positive emotions. Thanks to Armenia's accession to the Eurasian Economic Union, the ski resort has all the chances of becoming an enterprise in which it is profitable to invest. Russian entrepreneurs have already invested in Sakhkadzor. They are building a big hotel here for 200 guests. Kazakhstan has also expressed interest. Jointly with the Embassy of Kazakhstan and Kazakhstan's tourism companies, we hosted a number of conferences to show how attractive Sakhkadzor is for business activities. During the peak season, Sakhkadzor hosts up to 6,000 tourists. The future plans include increasing the number of guests twofold. By the way, already today, a 10% annual increase in the number of tourists is observed. An information center has been opened in the city, which has been functioning for the second year already. We're actively trying to understand what are the proposals and demands of the tourists. The mayor's office, the Fund for the Development of Tourism are all working on filling in the blank spots. In other words, people here are ready to do everything to ensure the comfort of incoming guests and investors. Future plans for Sakhkadzor include construction of an ice rink, a big alleyway through which one can pass to get to the ancient fortress. Elina Kazaryan, Tigran Galstyan, Gurgen Vardanyan, exclusively for Single Market from Armenia. Work begun is half done. In this respect, one can consider the experience of enterprises which got their start thanks to the attracted foreign investments. Foreign investments into real production enterprises is a great boost for their development. Our correspondent Oleg Boldarev visited one of such enterprises.
Олег Болдырев побывал на одном из таких производств.
In 2015, thanks to reinvestment, 4 new production enterprises were launched in the Almaty region, including an enterprise for the production of plastic items, window sills, and molding for PVC window profiles. This enterprise was launched on the base of the Galaxy Group company, which was established in the 90s using Turkish investments. From the very beginning, just like all companies in the 90s, we imported products from Turkey. But with time, the strategy was changed and we started our own production here in Kazakhstan. Over this period, entrepreneurs from Turkey invested more than 9 billion tenge into the enterprise. With these funds, by 2014, the enterprise was able to establish its own production of sealants for glass units and production of water supply pipes. In addition, its plant was equipped with 17 modern production lines. They are used for the production of profiles of plastic and aluminum windows.
Biz bu fabrikada plastik profil üretiyoruz.
The time required to manufacture one profile depends on the type of the profile and its look. The standard size profile of 6 meters can be manufactured in 2 to 3 minutes. A complete set of profiles, 36 meters, this takes 12 minutes. Recently, 2 new production lines were set up here, along with the manufacturing of windowsills. The annual volume of production reaches 30,000 tons in the amount of around 15 billion tenge. The majority of the produced products are sold on the domestic market, and the enterprise has to withstand tough competition from the partners in the Eurasian Economic Union.
Есть свои плюсы, есть свои минусы.
There are pluses and minuses. The pluses, we're forced to improve the quality of our products and of our services. The minus is that we have to lower the price. Therefore, the company's profit margin is lower.
Компания гораздо уменьшена.
Some of the products are also exported to external markets, to Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and next in line, Afghanistan. By the way, despite the difficulties of tough competition, the enterprise was able to increase its export volumes. The dynamic of increasing production volumes requires making adjustments in the plans. What's more, this should be done taking into account further growth. In the near future, this enterprise is planning to increase its production capacities by acquiring another 3 production lines for producing window profiles. This will allow the plant to decrease the production time periods as well as launch a new series of premium plastic. The new enterprise will be established near Almaty in the town Borondai. It will also be built using investments from Turkey. Oleg Boldarev, Nijat Yusupov, Almaty, exclusively for Single Market. That's all for today. My name is Pavel Koktышев. Kind reminder, all the episodes of our program are available online on www.kazakh-tv.kz. Until next time on Single Market, a territory without borders.